So hello everybody and welcome back to the second annual anime top seasonal tier list. Top list? Today we're gonna be covering the spring season of 2021 and this was another very stacked season. I guess it's kind of preparing us for the dumpster fire that is coming up in the summer season. But I think even if the summer season is going to be a dumpster fire, I think the leftovers from this season are going to make it a lot better. With that said, these are the animes that I will not be covering this season because, well, they're still unfinished and this only covers animes that are completely finished, or at least the seasons have finished. I feel like I forgot to watch something though. Nah, it's probably not important. I do gotta say before we start that this is mostly my opinion. I try to be as objective as I can, but it's inevitably going to stem from some sort of perspective. And with that said, why don't we get into the list? At number 8, we have Mashirootto. Yes, this is a top 8. I scammed you. Mashirootto is a sort of weird one in here because I didn't really know what to put in the number 8 spot, as everything that is below the 7th spot is sort of the same quality or worse. But Mashirootto actually proved to be a good slice of life, as it, adds that spice that is actually good, as opposed to just adding, the initial spice like most slice of lives do. Why something like this goes over something like, I don't know, Nagatoro, is because that the thing that actually makes it work, like Nagatoro just being her and Mashirootto being focused around the shamisen, it fills in the gaps that a slice of life usually has. Wherein something like Nagatoro, it is only there to initially hook you and then it sort of dwindles. Mashirootto is actually a coming-of-age story that is used the shamisen to tell the story of the character. And I really appreciated that, and weirdly enough, I really got into shamisen after I watched this. I started YouTubing. I started searching some videos on YouTube on how to play the shamisen, how it costs, how much it costs. And I started looking at what the most popular songs are, and I saw a lot of it in Mashirootto, and it is something I really appreciate. Also, one thing is that the animations can sometimes be a little bit iffy. Yes, the animations of the actual playing of the shamisen are pretty good, but sometimes the voice acting and the animations kind of don't match up, which is weird, and another anime in this list has that too. And it seems like these redundant parts are less well animated, while the actual technical parts are more well animated. You take it as you like. And even though it is a good coming of age story, it does have its bad parts, like there is some very superficial characters involved, but for the most part, it's a well-deserved number 8 spot. At number 7, we have Shadow's House. Shadow's House is actually an anime that caught me off guard. I didn't expect much from it, like I say for literally every anime. But in all honesty, I did not expect a psychological story of this nature to be in this sort of anime. I actually expected it more to be horror instead of psychological. And it's actually a slice of life seinen. So, we don't get a lot of those. But I really appreciated it. And again, it's just like Mashirootto, it is a coming of age story. But I think that Shadow's House actually uses a lot better crafted parts. The way that it tells the story is a lot better than most slice of life, even if the dynamic is actually kind of slow and unnecessary. Now, most of these scores that you're gonna see somewhere here are subject to change as I change my mind, as I let these animes sit for a while. But for Shadow's House, I think I still gotta think about it a little bit, even though I think it's still gonna stay in the same spot. But yeah, basically, you have these shadow people and you have the dolls, and they're, basically two parts of the same person, and they gotta come together in order to come of age. But then you see some very weird nuances in the storytelling, and there's a lot of very important dialogue, which can be a little bit overwhelming. But for the most part, I really appreciated the symbolism, and I think it deserves the spot that it's on at right now. Next up we have number 6, which is gonna be Moriarty The Patriot, Season 2. It is actually the final season, I hope it's the final season of Moriarty, because if it follows the story of Sherlock Holmes, actually this would be the end. This would be where the book ends. And they presented it in a very good way, as opposed to season 1, which I thought was very lacking, even though it had some pretty good characters, because, well, it's Sherlock Holmes. But the second season of Moriarty, you can see a lot of the conclusions of a lot of characters, and you can see the conclusion of the story, and it could have been like a 9 out of 10 if it wasn't for some bits like weird Japanese nuances that wouldn't really fit in you know, Victorian England, which is kind of sad because yes, it's an anime, it's made for the Japanese audience, but then you have this mix that doesn't really go well together, unfortunately. And the very end, if you watched it, the last scene, I'm not so keen on. I felt like they were doubling down. But overall, it actually works as a fantastic story with just bits that bring it down, like the character design, for example. But yeah, Moriarty trying to bring peace to the world by, you know, erasing the class division that exists there and trying to paint Sherlock as the hero of the story. It's good. It's just good. And I definitely recommend watching it if you can get over season 1. But if you like, you know, Sherlock Holmes and these mysteries, you're probably gonna like the entire series regardless. Now let's get down to number 5, which is gonna be Nomad Megalo Box 2, the second season of Megalo Box. Now, I already enjoyed the first season of Megalo Box a lot. I thought it's very aesthetic, even if it's a bit formulaic. Oh my god, I look like I'm in a fucking bunker right now. And Megalo Box Season 2 actually delivered a sort of better story than Season 1, even if it's still very formulaic. The aesthetic, though, on the other hand, worked really well, and I didn't expect this sort of Mexican, Spanish, whatever aesthetic that they were going for, but it worked really well when you know what the story is. Unfortunately, I can't really talk about the story because it's so detailed that there is gonna be spoilers along the way, but they definitely bumped up their production, and it really is nice, and it became one of my favorite aesthetics very easily. And we see the story, you know, the return of Joe to boxing, and we see when he fails and when he is good, and his battle with you know what, if you watched it. And it is actually very well presented, and I can't say enough good things about it, even if it's a bit formulaic. Now at number 4, I'm gonna put 86. 86 is actually a very weird story. I made a video about it, you know, talking about how it weirdly translates from a light novel into an anime, and it has some very interesting storytelling bits that I've never seen in an anime before. The beginning of the story is a bit undynamic, as the characters are a bit too rational, if you get me. But the overarching story and its conclusion within one season is very tasteful, if I might say so. We see some of the better CG when it comes to anime, probably because it's a mecha anime and the CG just works better when it's a mecha. But apart from that, the story is its main driving force, and the story is, you know, the story of basically racism and one side trying to justify it and some people trying to go against it, blah blah blah. It's a very good show that I can't recommend enough, and it's pretty short. Now I know there's gonna be a second season. I'm kind of wondering what that's gonna be, as the main story has pretty much concluded, even though it left a sort of, you know, nuance that there's gonna be a continuation. But even without it, I think the story would work perfectly. And I don't know, I'm kind of actually hoping to see a good second season, even though I might be a little bit skeptical about it. Now, before we get into the top 3, these 3 animes have moved their way into my favorites very easily, and it's kind of hard to talk about them unbiased. These top 3 are fantastic, and there's a very small gap between them, especially between number 1 and 2, and they're very much subject to change, especially when it comes to the score. Number 1, I'm actually, well, you're gonna see. Let's get into it. Number 3, it's gonna be Vivy Flourite Eyes song. Wow, like we had a couple of time travel animes in the same season, and you know, comparing the time travel of Vivy to like Tokyo Revengers is like night and day basically. Yeah, Vivy just works it in such a great way, and the weight of everything that is happening is so amazing. Vivy is of course made by Wit Studio, which as with this anime pretty much cemented itself as one of the best new age studios, if not the best. It's an anime original, and everything from the animations to the storytelling is just so amazing. And if you don't know what Vivy is, I can't recommend it enough. It's a story of an android, the first autonomous android that has the goal, or like its mission is that she's supposed to bring everybody happiness by singing. Now along the way, because she's the first autonomous android, and I can't, if I go too much into detail I'm gonna spoil it, but essentially she is tasked from the future in order to fix it, because there's gonna be a huge AI war going on in the future. And I think I can sell this anime really easily to you just by showing you this fight scene, as it is one of the best choreographed fight scenes that I've seen in a long while. Like, I don't remember an anime in the past couple of years that had something this good. As well as the animations and the overall aesthetic, like the still frames of this anime are absolutely insane, and everything from the production to the writing is just absolutely fantastic, and it's a very well deserved number 3, and it's probably gonna be in the top list of the entire year. And now we get into the top 2, and whew, oh my god. Yeah, this is really hard, but number 2 is Odd Taxi. This is probably one of the most underrated animes for such a long time. It has only so little watchers on my anime list. It's a crime for a show this good to not be watched. If you don't know, this is an anime where basically everybody, there's this taxi driver and everybody is animals, and not like Beastars, but like, you know, animals with like some human features. It's not Beastars, I swear. It's a mystery regarding this one missing girl, and we soon learn that this missing girl is maybe with the taxi driver in his home. He's connected to the mafia, he's connected to the police, and there's so many things going on at the same time. It's just, yeah, it also has an undertone, like not an undertone, but like a sub-story of dreams and achievements, and how much you were willing to sacrifice and what people do in order to achieve those dreams. Apart from that, we get the really fantastic mystery story about the main character himself. And if you've heard, or if you've seen Gigak's video on it, or if you've heard of Chekhov's gun, this anime is basically Chekhov's war crimes. Like, every single little detail that is mentioned is important to the story, and every single thing that is mentioned resolves itself within the story. It is one of the most well-written stories that I've seen. The only thing that's keeping it from being a 10 is there's a thing at the very end, and I don't know if other people think it's also not that great, but I personally do. The production could have been a little bit more dramatic, but I'm still completely fine with that, as the story is absolutely fantastic. I can't recommend it enough. And with that said, we're gonna be moving on to number 1. And the number 1 for this season is gonna be Fruits Basket. You know, I say I didn't expect this a lot, but boy. I can't even, like, I'm speechless when it comes to this anime. Yeah, sure, the first season and a half of this anime have been pretty slice of lifey, but the reason behind that is so that they can connect you to the characters. And moving, you know, into season 3, we have all these dynamics going on at the same time. It is absolutely wow. And I saw that it moved to the top 5 of my anime list pretty quickly, and it's well deserved. So I will be doing like a more in-depth video on Fruits Basket probably next week, so subscribe if you really want to see that. But essentially, in a condensed version, this is actually a story about bonds, and basically toxic bonds, and, you know, relationships, and what is and what is a relationship that's worth your time, what is a relationship that isn't, so on and so forth. And a lot of people view this anime as just romance and slice of life, which if you go into it that way, it's still gonna be enjoyable, but you're gonna be missing a lot of the important parts of this anime. I'm actually thinking of giving this anime a 10, but I still have to sit on it, and I'm gonna analyze it thoroughly when I make the video. So I've since only given 3 10s in my entire lifespan of watching anime, and I think that Fruits Basket could be another 10 out of 10. But as I said, wait for the video, that is gonna be my final decision when it comes out next week. And if you just want to see a great romance slash drama, it's like, even if you don't like the first season, it is worth it to watch it just because of how good the last season is. It's basically goosebumps every 6 minutes. Like that's the best way I can explain it. And I know it might be too long for some people, but Jesus Christ, it really is worth it, and it really became one of my easiest favorite anime of all time. So yeah, what did you think of the list? If you think I missed something, because I did, go ahead and leave it down in the comments below, as I appreciate all feedback that you guys give, and I try to reply all the comments that I get. And if you want to, you can just like go ahead and put your own top list in the description. Put your own top list down in the comments if you disagree with me, which is again completely fine. This is no final opinion. You know, I put official in it just because of shits and giggles. But yeah, other than that, I hope you enjoyed this video. And if you want to see, you know, more seasonal anime content, be sure to subscribe. There's gonna be a top 10 list of the year at the end. Just like. But yeah, so far, that has been it. My name is Mangosh, and I will be seeing you guys in the next top 10.